Saturday, April the 20th, 2019, and my Easter walk this weekend is down in West Berkshire. About to undertake the 12.5 miles to Woolhampton, or Midgham on the train network. It's a cracking day. Couldn't have asked for better in the weather. In fact, it's unseasonably warm at around 24 degrees today forecast. It's about 12:30 now, so let's crack on. This is swcwalk 117. So here we go. A couple of yards into the walk. Just crossed a busy A4. Next to the Marley factory. I think they make bricks, but I'm not sure. Not down this way, certainly. Don't know. Certainly associated with stone of some kind, as you can see. Straight on here. Not that way. Not that way. This way. At a staggered four-way junction. Ascending up a pleasantly almost tree-covered lane now. Leaves are coming out quickly, as are the bluebells. We've watched them develop over the last couple of weeks. Now nearly in full bloom. Plenty of bird song. Chiff chaff there in the background. Views down the valley. Just stood past the oft opened field gate mentioned in the text. Just behind me there. Nice spread of bluebells in the wood on my right here. Wonderful. And in contrast to the fresh verdant greens at the top of the tree canopy, as I say, wonderful time of the year this. Very pleasant valley next to the farmhouse on my right. Not sure what I've disturbed in the hedge here, or if it might be the other side in the field. Quail? Don't know. Not sure what that is. I think it's some kind of turkey, isn't it? Anyway, very pleasant vista. Very close to the lich gate of the church now. Here's the lich gate. Church just behind. But the churchyard is actually opposite in another field on the other side of the lane. As you can see, clock's on time, nearly 5 to 1. St Mary's this is. As I mentioned last week, I'm going to keep my visits inside these churches, wonderful as this one is, to a minimum, because I was losing time. What a lovely little place it is though, fantastic. to the entrance door. Wonderful stained glass. There's the old organ. Views back. The old wooden box seats, minus the doors. And the bell tower. Here's a wonderful grave. Mr. Benny, silversmith and goldsmith, alongside his soulmate. And there's a wonderful bench there, in amongst the yew, with a fantastic vista, but it's far too early for me yet, albeit it's 1 o'clock. There is the vista. Delightful. Our onward journeys across this field into that copse. West Berkshire ramblers, busy at work. Good to see. It's wonderfully pleasant walking so far. About half hour in. I wanted to choose a walk today that I thought would be peaceful, bearing in mind it's the holiday season, very good weather, and there are lots of crowds about. The traditional walk-in venues of the Downs, etc., probably chocker, but hopefully this one won't be. And once again the old Chiff Chaff agrees. Crossing on a footbridge over this little stream. Small information sheet here telling us about old copse. Further information sheet here about the old copse being an SSI on private land. Some of the species that are seen here. Wonderful. And now's the time to catch a lot of these. Small wooden plaque here, which I can't read very clearly. It's got a mobile phone number on it. Probably someone advertising their wares. Just below the footpath sign outside the copse. Turn left here, following this footpath marker. For those that are interested, that must be the wood I'm about to enter. Interesting, the blossom down here seems to be a bit behind us up in Hertfordshire, where it's pretty much gone. This is indeed a very pleasant walk for those that want bluebells, thus far anyway. Fantastic. Lovely. I see the spire of a church over there on my left, just as we're leaving the wood. But our onward journey at this 5-fingered post is right along the field boundary. That's the way I've just come. This footpath is described in the text as being mud prone, but it's very worrying that after just a few days of sunshine it's bone dry. I know in Hertfordshire our water table is already 8% below where it should be, so we're in a deficit at the moment, and it's only April. So the climate change protesters up in London, much as they're causing inconvenience, are doing the right thing, bringing this message home. Although whether we humans can actually do anything about it remains to be seen. Because as we saw last week with the Saxon Shoreway, Mother Nature does take its toll in its own way. Sea levels rise and fall, dinosaurs come and go. Well, they might come back, I don't know. Go into the wood, Greyfield Wood at this point, but do a right, walk along its edge. Surprisingly, my first kite of the day. I say surprisingly because this is their stronghold, west of London, along the chalk ridges. Map here of Greyfield Wood, Beanham. And that hum you can hear, is that a substation? Withy Copse now on my right. Now passing through Ironmonger's Copse, interestingly named. These bluebells are just at the stage where they're starting to smell lovely. Fantastic aroma. Oh dear, wonderful. And here, as we walk over the boardwalk section, some of the boards are rotted. The bluebells are replaced by celandine. What a wonderful sight. And in the background I can hear a greater spotted woodpecker drumming. There you go. Could be a lesser, but I think it's a greater. Wonderful views from the brow of this hill. You could in fact walk straight across the middle of the field, I notice, as opposed to the instructions which are left and right. That's where I've just come from, those woods, Ironmongers. Crossing over the early stages of the River Bourne, from which Pangbourne gets its name, I do believe. Take a left here at this three-way junction in front of the electricity pole. Not that way. Now crossing Chapel Row Village Green, coming up for 2 o'clock. Stood beneath a small section of the famous Avenue of Oaks, which is about a mile long. You can Google that, find out more. One side is to commemorate the passing of Queen Elizabeth I, and on the other, I think, is to no, I can't remember what that was for. You come out opposite the recommended early lunchtime stop, the Blade Bone at Bucklebury, and next door to it is a small cafe. blackbird. Whether that's open or not, I don't know. And opposite is a bus stop to Teal for those that want to cop out early. And as you can see, the avenue. So as you can see, very intermittent opening hours. Closed for Easter. And very reduced hours at the best of times. Nice thatched cottage. There's certainly plenty of swallows around today, having seen my first half dozen last week down in Kent. There's lots about today. I'm hearing the twitterings everywhere. That'll give you some idea of the prices in this place. You get 3 courses for about £8 up my way in Hertfordshire. A parting shot of the avenue. What a wonderful sight that is. A mile of oak trees. Country used to be covered in them. And then the Armada ruined that. Looks like we're now following another row of trees at Chapel Road Common. These look like they might be, I can't see by the leaf buds. Anyway, lots of thatch round here. There's a nice thatched cottage on my right, and I do believe this to be the gravel bridleway referred to in the text. It's not actually clear. Next to Apple Tree St Crispin's. Decent view over there on my left as we've just passed St Crispin's farm. Green woodpecker in the background. Onward journey straight downhill. This path I'm walking down could be a nightmare in winter after rain. Horses have rutted it. It's quite tricky at the moment. You could easily rip your ankle if you weren't wearing boots. Flock of brown sheep here. Interesting. Never seen them before. What a lovely windbreak. Poplars. Fantastic. Got to be 100 foot high. Okay, if you continue straight on, that's a kind of shortcut. The main walk turns right here and goes through what is apparently a very decent wood ahead of us there. So let's crack on. Now entering King's Copse. Interesting. Some attempt here to either restore a pond or build a new one. Very worthy. So there's the footpath marker on a post into the trees referred to in the text after the double field gate. So it's in front of this white house. Wonderful vista here. Look at that. There you go, what a wonderful view. No wonder the birds are singing. and no wonder it's top dollar to live in this area. Very impressed. It's got a lot of the characteristics of the Weald. Now walking through a pleasantly cool greenway. Amazing swarm of bees there. So few of them left these days. I hope they don't spot me in my hat, as a passerby just did. Thought I was an apiarist. So here we are, entering the village of Stanford Dingley. Google that for more information. Just passing the Boot Inn. That's the garden house. We're going down that gravel lane next to it. Stood on a little bridge outside Mill Cottage, on top of the Pang again. Wonderful. Recommended lunchtime stop, the Bull Inn, which as you can see is very popular. Right, so here we are at St Denis, D-E-N-Y-S, St Denis, in Stanford. Got the sun against me here, but I'm now in the cemetery. This is a very ancient church. Google it to find out more. There's no seats in the churchyard, but there is one outside on the road, which I'm going to have to use, disappointingly. So there you go, there is one seat just by the storm porch. The church is unfortunately locked up, so we won't get in it. So this bench is in memory of David Pring, warden of this church, 1970 to 1991. What a lovely place to be a warden of. I'm exactly 5 miles into the walk, and it's 3 p.m. almost on the button. So, just gone 3:30, lunch has been had. Unfortunately the church is closed, but open tomorrow. Not that that's any good to me, so I was told by a local. Parting views of St Denis. It's actually 20 past 3, not 20 to 4. Not to worry. Rooks are very noisy. Obviously got young up there. I think they're rooks anyway, as opposed to crows. And then behind me, for the best part of the walk so far, I've been able to hear rifle shots. Not quite sure what that's all about. Military range? Don't know. Aldermaston? Don't know what it's all about. Lovely to see. Plenty of log piles in here for the little critters. That's got to be a military target range over there somewhere. Sheep making the most of the shade there. It is lovely and warm today. Give it that. Perfect for the Easter bank holiday. And so far this walk's perfect as well. Very few people out. Now got the River Pang on my left. Disturb those mallards. Now if that's a chalk stream, which I believe it's supposed to be, the presence of algae in it is indicative of phosphates being leached into the river by the fields next door, which is a shame, because this looks like a spring sown crop, which is exactly what you want, certainly for wildlife anyway. Got some remnants of a feature called hatches over there on the left side of the river bank, and these are indicative of the water meadows being used for a particular purpose. Basically the management of the water levels in chalk stream flood meadows. Google it if you want to learn more. Hatches. There's another one just through there. Now stood on the concrete bridge over the Pang with our onward journey clearly ahead of us. Well, unfortunately for me, the path across the next field has not been reinstated. Looks like it's been done recently as well, so I can't blame him under the death for a 2-week rule. Oh well, bit of tramping. Views back from whence I've come, at a point near Manor Farmhouse on the map and referred to in the text. Bit of a slog, that field. Now what the farmer has done here very nicely is leave this field margin, and I've just noticed either some pipits or skylarks, one or the other, flying up from the ground here, so they must be nesting in it. Ideal for them. Potential barn conversion there. Mind you, swallows would lose a habitat. That's why there's not so many of them about now. Passing Bucklebury Farm and Deer Park. The crests at Bucklebury House. What chance have you got against a tie and a crest? All that rugby puts hairs on your chest. Hello, hooray, what a nice day for the Eton Rifles. So you've got a cafe and farm shop here, possible tea time stop. Well, managed to walk past that noisy cow with its calf, having had consultations with the farm manager. Wonderful views up here. Bucklebury Farm Shop, and various animals here to be seen, as you can hear. One last look at those views. Wonderful. Lots of work going on at the property known as Vanner's. Swimming pool being installed amongst other things. That's per these planning applications. Okay, I'm stood outside Osgood's holding, but the instructions are not very clear at this point, or just prior to it, because it refers to shortcut and there's an asterisk, and then after that there's a paragraph with a double asterisk, and it doesn't make sense really. So I'm not sure what's going on here, why they're asterisked, but I'll press on. This byway is temporarily closed, or otherwise, to mechanical vehicles, which is excellent news. Just outside Sad Grove Farm. Well, I do seem to be on track, walking across Bucklebury Common, one of the largest in the south of England. There's J up there, as you can hear, more than see. Very shy creatures. There's a little footpath here on the left, unmarked, but that's our onward journey. As you can see, ground nesting birds include woodlark and nightjar. Fantastic. Just stood in the little concrete car park area referred to in the text. Now emerged into open heathland, a very rare commodity in this country now, and the home of so many creatures that are disappearing rapidly. Sand lizard, etc. Approaching the hillock referred to in the text. Wonderful scenery this, bit New Foresty-ish. Yeah, the instructions in this heathland section are not very clear, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to rejoin the road, which is over on my left, just there. So, back on track here, leaving Bucklebury Common behind me. Very pleasant it was as well. Press on, turning right towards those cottages, I believe. The instructions across the common could do with a bit of tidying up though, I think. Definitely need a compass. Interesting, a pile of sheep wool here. Not sure why that's been left behind. Sheep don't appear to have been sheared. Just past the entrance of Wootton, the house known as Wootton, and these are the views you get at the end of the path next to it. This is the North Hampshire Downs, also part of the North Wessex Downs area of outstanding natural beauty. What a wonderful view. Still got that shooting going on. Can't think it's bird control. Not at this time of year. Shouldn't be allowed. Onward journey straight ahead. It's now 5:30 and the train leaves at 6:30 or 7:30. So I've got a judgment call to make pretty soon on whether to take the park route or the canal route. I did want to take the canal side route, but yeah, I've been a bit slow today. Apparently that church spire over there on the right is Midgham, which is my ultimate destination, I believe, in a roundabout sort of way. Now it's St Matthew's, Midgham. Very decent church. Yeah, lovely. Good old solid building. Needs to be, because it stood out on a pinnacle here. Got the sun against me on this side, but there's a decent view of it. Just spoken to someone who's local and he said the canal's probably the better walk, albeit it's likely to mean I'll miss the 1826-7. Views from a hole in the hedge just by the church. No other way of getting a decent view really, but the view from the tower's great. Well, having said I wasn't going to come in churches too often now, this one's again wonderful inside. Look at that beautiful artwork. Not every window's leaded though. As you can see over there. Looking back, no doubt there'll be a full congregation in here tomorrow morning. Midgham Village Hall, and this road is described in a text as being quite busy, but I've only passed one car so far. Yes, actually this road up to the railway bridge that is busy. Crossing over the railway now. So there's St Mary's up on the hill, railway line in the foreground here, and now walking alongside the River Kennet, which has been, it's not a canal as such, but it's been tidied up to make it more navigable. Old gravel pits on the right, been converted back to nature. Couple of Marines there training. Crossing over the old swing bridge here. Okay, judgment time again. Looks like I'm going to miss the 6:30 train, believe it or not. So that would be the onward journey directly into Midgham or Woolhampton, whatever. I don't really need to have a look at the pub, the row barge inn, which is through there, Oxley's. But then again, I've got time to kill, so maybe I will. Yeah, I've decided to stick with the Kennet because they both lead to the row barge inn anyway. Interestingly, I see Network Rail are also using those swan and duck deterrents on their wires. Again, pointing to the problem down at Sandhurst a couple of weeks ago. Interestingly, despite the very good weather and the appropriate scenery, still no cuckoo. So there is the row barge, appropriately packed out on a summer weekend, on an Easter weekend. So crossing over the Kennet, I'm not going to stop at the row barge, too busy. Very pleasant as it is though. So here I am, back at Midgham or Woolhampton, 12.7 miles later, and a bit longer than I thought. Just missed the 1826. It's now about 1840, so quite a wait. I'll do a cool down, have an apple. I've drunk me 2 litres of water, so hot was it today. So I'm out of supplies. Got a pot of tea though, or a flask of tea left, thankfully. Bit of TikTok, decaffeinated. That was a very nice walk actually. I'm finding this part of the country very decent for walking. As I say, it's got a lot of characteristics of the Weald in being nice and peaceful and quiet, So I certainly achieved that goal today. And yeah, I only saw 2 people on the whole walk, I think, apart from the crowd at the farm, Bucklebury Animal Farm. Aside from that, very good. So highly recommended. SWC walk number 117 completed. And just to crown it all off, Spurs lost today, so chances are tomorrow Arsenal could be back above them. Fingers crossed.